This NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Championship Race Betting Recap edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code RACESGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football and the NFL with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHM.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you ask me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome in to another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast. You're on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's the zebra. I'm the rod man. Jessica's saying it perfectly. Good afternoon, guys. And yes, trucks. We are down to the final recap of the week, Cody, where we break down the Craftsman Truck Series Championship race and the championship in general. But, man, I mean, breaking down this last race makes me sad because it means the season is kind of officially over at this point.
It does, but that means we can start looking forward to next season, Rod. Nothing wrong with that. Andrew checking in. Just a couple of piano emojis. 2 piano men getting their championships this weekend, Rod. And Jessica also saying we're all in the mood for a melody. Ty Majeski gets it done, Rod. Unlike Justin Allgaier, he didn't have a ton of pianos to go around throughout the race. I guess Allgaier, they saved them all for Allgaier on Saturday. And it was pretty smooth sailing for Majeski on Friday as he picked up his first Truck Series championship, Rod. And little fun fact, if you've been following our NASCAR by the number posts every day on Facebook or the X, that was the first championship in any of the top 3 series in the number 98 car/truck.
Wow, that's actually impressive. I didn't know that until you posted it, but that's a very impressive stat that in all the years the 98 car/truck has not actually brought home a championship. So congrats to Ty Majeski. We're all in the mood for melody. Yes, la-di-da, la-di-da. You got us feeling all right. I will say that as I went back to listen to the championship preview that we did earlier in the season, I was heavy on Thor Sport. I just was on the other two.
the wrong Thor Sports.
Yeah, I mean, literally, it was like I had brought up Crafton.
If you remember, Rod, I gave out a Thor Sport guy to win too. Unfortunately, Jake Garcia was not very good this year.
No. So yeah, I mean, listen, it was all for naught. But I think I did change my tune. Get it? At the end of the year because I won't bury the lead. I did call Majeski out as a winner. So I was very happy. And this truck card was so much better than the Xfinity card because it actually ended up the way it should have, where the Xfinity card had a few close misses where the Truck Series kind of picked those up.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a pretty good day overall.
It certainly was. It's also a pretty good day for those of you who have downloaded the SGPN app because you're not missing out like everybody else that has not already has. That app gives you access to all the podcasts like this one. Plus, you can also listen. The Grey Cup is coming up this weekend, which, by the way, the CFL podcast guys have been crushing it over there. They broke down the Grey Cup today. You can go listen to that article now before the Grey Cup, and I'll be definitely watching. I know Shania is not going to be the halftime show this time, but I'll make do with what's going on. But yeah, you can find all those shows over there on the network, on the SGPN app, plus the picks pages all in one convenient place. Plus our content, the app, how much is it? Well, it's free. So download it, enjoy it, type in SGPN in the App Store and download that app today. Yes, Cody. So Ty Majeski gets it done. This was not a fluke too. This was 132 laps led of the 150 of this particular race. I mean, he dominated, Cody. This was not even a close race between anybody.
It wasn't a question. I mean, it was the only question, Rod, during the race was what's gonna go wrong, right? When is it gonna happen? When is he gonna speed on pit road? When's the tire gonna fall off? When is a lap car gonna spin right in front of him? Or whatever the case might be. But it never happened. Boji Joe saying, "Cash me, Ty." He had Ty. Dos Flacos. You knew Dos Flacos was gonna tune in for this one, Rod. He is obviously a big Ty guy. He's been probably since the preseason when we weren't giving Ty the credit. I think Dos Flacco was on him back then. So, yeah, shout out to him for that. But, yeah, he got it done and really in convincing fashion. It was never really in question that he was the best truck on the night and that he was likely going to take home the title.
Hey, start on the pole, you win from the pole. I mean, you lead that many laps, and just like Boji Joe says, you cash me out, Ty. That's how we're at. You like, yeah, me out, cash me out, Ty. Yeah, no, listen. To me, this was we were trying to figure out, especially between like Heim and Eckes, where the threat was going to come, and then when Ty Majeski came out and put it on the pole, it was almost kind of a no-brainer. But like you said, it was just a matter of everybody was holding their breath, wondering which piano was going to jump out and get him. So luckily there were no pianos falling out of the sky, and we were able to see Ty Majeski in his full glory. I will say that I'm a little 6 cautions for 43 laps and a red flag. This race pretty much did have it all still.
Yeah, it really did have kind of a little bit of everything throughout it. And then the one thing that just remained true the whole time was Majeski.
It was indeed. Corey Heim finishing in second, Christian Eckes finishing in third, Sanchez and Enfinger fourth and fifth. So all 4 of the championship drivers, as we predicted, finishing inside of the top 5. Which playing the spoiler.
The Truck Series is where you generally see that the least, right? We've had multiple times recently where the truck, winner of the race has not been the champion. But in Xfinity, we had one guy in the top 9 that was actually in the, I think it was like 9th, 10th, 11th were the other 3 guys after Allgaier finished in second, of course. But yeah, Truck Series, it was really the championship guys up front all evening.
It certainly was. And honestly too, when we look at this truck race and all of the guys that are in the top 10 at the very least, they're recognizable names. They're names that we've seen in the top 10 all year long, to include Taylor Gray, Caden Honeycutt, Connor Mosack, Ben Rhodes, Lane Riggs. Even Tanner Gray popped his head up in the top 15 at that point as well. So yeah, there were really no surprises. It was good to see Frankie Muniz in there for however brief he was in there. Actually, he made it 95 laps, so that was a pretty decent run from him. But yeah, look, this race, I thought, to me, was one of the more, it was predictable, but I still thought there was a lot of entertaining factors in it. I felt like there was still a little bit of drama, regardless of what they knew what the outcome was going to be. Yeah,
it was exciting, and Majeski didn't seem to have the super long run stuff, right? We saw at the end of stage 1, Heim actually ran him down and passed him, and so you're like, okay, we don't get a lot of long runs in the Truck Series, but if you do get a long run, could make for an interesting finish for sure. But then, Majeski just picked right up in stage 2 where he left off and really didn't look back after that point.
It is true indeed. All right, you know what? Here's the thing. We got a lot of bets to get through, and we're going to get through those. I feel like it's a good time to take a break so we can start going through all of our bets. So let's step away for a second. We'll come back. We'll talk through our bets. But first, let me tell you about MyBookie. We're brought to you by MyBookie.ag. SGPN started out with MyBookie, and we're back. Check out the new and improved website. It's great on mobile. It's beautiful on mobile. So go check that out. Plus props for every game. And the live dealer casino. Even new early cash out options are available for you there as well. We'll be taking a look at MyBookie quite a bit over the course of the offseason, checking out their futures bets for you as well. You can head over to mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. You're going to get a 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. All right, Cody. So as we said, it was definitely a heavy playoff contender, championship for race. And yeah, I mean, but our cards circled around those guys, but also keyed in on some folks that were not in the playoff race that were good enough for us to follow.
Yeah, I really felt good about, like you kind of said, every bet that we gave out, I think was pretty solid, and we hit quite a few. That starts off with Grant Enfinger, top 5 at plus 125. I was a little concerned about this throughout points in the day, right? Enfinger just, man, he didn't have it, Rod. You really had hoped he'd locked in 3.5 months ago to the Final Four. You're like, they got all this time to get ready, and they've brought some really fast trucks and really good trucks to the track this season, and he didn't seem to have it, and so they were sort of playing the strategy game, and they end up taking the tires there at the end, and I believe it was along with Eckes, right? I think both of them ended up taking tires and kind of marching back through the field and getting up there, but not really much of a threat to win. But yeah, the top 5 definitely was in question for a bit, but at the end of the day, we kind of thought these championship 4 guys would find their way to and near the front. That's exactly what they did. And the finger top 5 cashes, Rod, at plus 125.
The finger most certainly did. We said give everybody the finger. That's what we were at, and he laddered himself up quite a bit, right, to the top 5, which is a better run than he had all day long. So I think this one cashing, you could thank the last few cautions for that one, but at the same time, his ability to kind of keep himself in the mix as well. So love that top 5 cash. Mine, I took Ben Rhodes, the guy that I had picked before the season to win the championship, over Tyler Ankrum, and really just pointed to the fact that Ankrum has had bad luck and just not run well on this track in particular. This one ends up cashing because Tyler Ankrum does run into some bad luck there at the end of the race and getting himself taken out of it altogether. That wreck was pretty huge, wasn't it? That was one that pretty much red flagged the race. Took out a number of cars, including Ankrum, Parsons, Frankie finally got finished off there. Thad Moffitt, Sawalich, Perez, Delara.
That was the one that happened like right in front of Corey Haim too, wasn't it? Where he just about hurt.
No,
that was the earlier one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The earlier
this was just a big one that took out a ton of people. And as Jessica said, he was Malcolm in the middle. Unfortunately for Frankie Muniz getting caught up in that one as well.
Yeah, no, he was in that instance. But yeah, it was just the earlier one, Muniz just kind of lost it himself in front of Haim and almost took himself out. But yeah, this is the one that triggered the red flag. But again, at the end of the day, it was Ben Rhodes finishing better than Tyler Ankrum. And he would have done it anyways, regardless, because Ben Rhodes finished in 9th place and Tyler Ankrum was not a top 10 car at any point really throughout the course of the day. He didn't finish in either stage in the top 10. He just sort of middling ran between 15th and 20th basically all day long before that final crash. So, yeah, I mean, this one would never in doubt. And I feel like as much as we're going to say Ankrum's name a lot next season, because I think he's going to make a good I'm going to say his name a lot because I still think he's a good driver. But yeah.
Do we know if he's back? I guess I haven't paid too much attention. Is he back in the McAnally Hilgeman truck?
I haven't seen that he's not, so I don't know.
Okay, so we'll assume that he is, but yeah, I don't know. Ankrum just doesn't do much for me, Rod. He doesn't move my needle very much, but yeah, this was an easy cash for you, pretty sweat free. So shout out to you on that. Oh, we got a sweat on this one, Rod. It almost cashed. Caden Honeycutt, top 5 at 6-1, finishes in 7th place. You know, if Enfinger and Eckes don't have those tires there at the end, I think Honeycutt might just come home in the top 5, which is a little unfortunate that it didn't pan out, but it was the right train of thought, right? We were on the right track with Honeycutt there, and we mentioned it a lot over the last week or so with Honeycutt, but he's going to be full-time next season in that truck, and he's going to be a guy that I think we're going to be talking about quite a bit. He's going to be like Lane Riggs was for us this season when it comes to the short, flat tracks, right? I think, and really, he proved he can be good elsewhere too. A couple top 5s at Kansas as well, in both the starts there. But I think that we're definitely going to be talking a good bit about Honeycutt next year. So unfortunately, didn't cash on him this time, but it was close. So you'll take that every time. Old-fashioned football checking in. He doesn't move my needle. Might be the best quote of the year from Cody. Well, he doesn't. And Boji Joe was asking, Nice, yes, he is Honeycutt is going to be back full-time in Nice, I believe, just in that 45 truck. They're just making him full-time, taking over that truck. So, and then Andrew as well, saying Eckes was money this year. Eckes probably made us the most money out of any of the truck drivers this season, Rod. If I had to venture to guess without having all the season statistics right in front of me, Eckes had a hell of a season.
Eckes probably made himself the most money that he's ever made in the course of his career this season. So good for him as well. But strangely enough, though, Christian Eckes, the only playoff driver to not lead a single lap in this race.
Which he led up until this race, Rod. He led a lap in all but one race prior to this. The entire season, all but one race, and doesn't lead any this weekend, which just... I don't know how they missed it so much. I don't know.
But is third place so much? Like, that's the thing.
Yeah, because he finished third. He had the tires at the end though. Like he wouldn't have been third, I don't think, before that. Like you look back at the stages, I guess he was fifth in stage 2, and I guess he was third in stage 1. I just don't remember him really being up there that much. So I don't know. I felt very disappointed for what Eckes had been all season and what he'd done.
You know who I wasn't disappointed in, and that was the Sanchez. I gave him out as a top 5 car or truck. I knew that the odds were not necessarily long enough for me to feel comfortable, like just wanting to bet it, but I knew that it was going to happen, so that's why I gave it out. Sanchez top 5 plus 135. Never in doubt in this instance. Anyways, he finished in 4th. Like, he finished in the top 5 at the end of both stages. Nick Sanchez was jockeying for the lead at several points in this race. And so for him, it was just a matter of, could he stay in the top 5? Were any of the late tires going to catch him or put him, outside of the top 5? And he started actually on the outside pole. On the inside pole. That last restart on 123. So again, like I said, he was fighting with Majeski. Well, okay, he was there alongside Majeski.
He was fighting with Majeski. There was at least a quick moment in time where you thought maybe Sanchez has something for him, and then Majeski made pretty quick work of him. But and Boji Joe saying he had the second best car. I think that is pretty accurate. And Andrew too took this after qualifying, which he got a better number on. So shout out to him for following up on that after qualifying as well.
Mm-hmm. And then I had Daniel Dye as a top 5 truck at 20-1. Stupid restart violation. Where was Daniel Dye? Oh yeah, hanging around the top 5 when his restart violation pulled him back to the pits to serve the penalty. Oh my God, Cody, we were violation away from the top 5 at 20-1.
I think he was going to cash this if it wouldn't have been for that restart violation. I always see the Bob Pockrass tweet before you see it on TV, and it's like, I was just like, no, he had a top 5, and you can just hear Michael Waltrip's disappointment up in the booth as well, Rod, seeing his son mess up with the restart violation. So unfortunate.
I wanted my phone brick so I could throw it at the TV. I was so pissed off. Like, this was one that had legs. He was doing this before that late restart violation, and so frustrating.
Yeah, very frustrating for sure. I had Stuart Friesen top 5 at 11-1. I felt really good about this, Rod. He qualifies in 3rd place, top 10 in both the stages. Okay, here we go. Things are looking good. I believe it was during that big wreck that we referenced a few minutes ago. He sustained a little bit of damage. Truck just wasn't quite the same after that. I don't know that he was going to finish top 5. He was going to finish top 10 for sure, and he ends up 18th at the end of the day. But he was going to be very close to the top 5, which, again, at 11-1, that's sort of what you're looking for, the opportunity to be right there. But once he got that damage, the truck just wasn't the same. And, unfortunately, no on the Friesen. Rod, I got to say, very, very happy with what I saw at the end of the season here from Stuart Friesen. And I'm sort of hoping that they sleep a little bit on him going into 2025, because I feel like he could be a guy we could capitalize on early, maybe even in the championship market, depending on what those odds look like when they come out. But then early in the season, when we get a few opportunities before they realize Stuart Friesen never went anywhere, he just had a little lull, Rod. I think that could be the case.
Well, and as you notice, I am without poutine out here, so therefore that bet did not cash there. I didn't have to eat my poutine. All right, but I will still because I love that stuff. So once the Grey Cup comes around, I will have my ceremonial fries, cheese curds, and gravy, and enjoy the game with 3 downs. But yeah, for Stuart Friesen, you're right. I don't think this is obviously the last time we're going to be talking about him for sure. He's going to be a staple still next season, and that team's not. It hasn't really digressed. It's just taken some time where it wasn't that good. So I think they'll spend the offseason climbing back into the lab and coming up with ways to make him fast again. So I'm not worried about Stuart Friesen. I think next year we'll have a lot of good numbers on him, and we'll pounce on him early before the books catch up as well. The books did catch up with Lane Riggs, and they gave us top Ford number at -115. Unfortunately, the pianos that were meant to fall on Ty Majeski ended up falling on a different Ford instead. And that was Lane Riggs. Unfortunately, Lane Riggs did get actually was it spun out, right? He got caught up in that.
He was what, third or fourth when he got spun out. I mean, he was right up there in the mix, and he had a fast truck too. I mean, I know we just mentioned Sanchez a minute ago and how fast he was, and maybe he had something for Majeski. Lane Riggs might have had something for Majeski as well. But yeah, he got shipped there, and well, I don't even know that he got shipped. He kind of lost it, and man, yeah, he was up there though, and he was certainly going to have a chance to cash this bet.
He made slight contact with Nick Sanchez, is what the official report says, and ends up spinning out there on lap 118. So. Yeah, that was the official thing. But honestly, look,
Rod's bets taking each other out. No big deal.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it was like, oh, okay, well, if I'm going to take the one, I'm going to take the one that's going to give me plus money out of it. That's fine. So, yeah, if I had to pick the lesser of two evils, then I did. But and then even still, like Lane Riggs, I don't think there was any way that Ty Majeski was going to be denied at that point. Like you were not going to get anybody better than Ty Majeski. And look, Ben Rhodes, even with that spin, Lane still finished as the third best Ford, right? So let's say Rhodes doesn't have as good a day as he is. Let's say Majeski has a piano fall on him.
Piano falls, yeah. Then suddenly he's easily the best Ford on the day. So, yeah, it didn't work out, but I don't know that it was a bad bet.
I don't think so either. In fact, next year we're probably going to be seeing a lot of Lane Riggs top Fords in the world. So
2025 Truck Series champion Lane Riggs, Rod. Let's address them appropriately, please.
I'm sorry. Are you already Babe Ruthing it? Are you calling your shot there?
I've stuck my claim over here with my flag planted in Lane Riggs firmly.
Okay, that's good. He moves your needle. All right, we'll be back with the rest of our bets. But first, let me tell you about Underdog Fantasy. Of course, I'm going to cut you off on that one. Underdog Fantasy Pick'em has the biggest menu of all of sports. You want NFL, you want college football, you want college basketball, MMA, NBA, NASCAR, Formula One, more? Guess what? Underdog has all of that. Plus, you can now use specials to boost on all of your flexed entries. Monday night or Thursday night football. Oh my God, what day is today? Thursday night football kicking off tonight. Eagles Commanders. Make sure you go get your underdog picks in for that game. Stack them all up, have some fun. And in the meantime, sign up with our promo code RACESGPN. You're going to claim a special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com promo code RACESGPN. SGPN's proud partner, Rhythm, is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and props. You can build your own model, copy one of the top-performing models from the leaderboard, or have Rhythm build a model for you. Now you can track props in the Rhythm app. NFL picks, NFL props, college football, college basketball, and NBA. Rhythm has it all. Been building my model because I'm trying to figure out which side of the Saquon Barkley rushing side that I want to be on for tonight's game. So far, it has me pointing at the over, so I'm hoping that continues to build on. I'm going to keep feeding stuff into the model so I can get a more accurate approach to it, but I'm still leaning over for Saquon Barkley. That they're going to run the ball all over God's green earth, over the Commanders, so we'll see about that. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
If you want more go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. Underdog, you're going to say.
Yes, I was going to say, if you want more underdog picks for tonight's game, Old Fashioned Football, by the way, who's in the chat, says this show has been known to move my needle. Something that also moves my needle, Rod, is their show, which is going to be live about an hour and a half here, 6 o'clock-ish on the Central Time Zone this evening. And they've always got some underdog picks, best bets as well for the primetime game. So make sure you check them out this evening.
Boji Joe, I'm saying leaning over for Saquon Barkley rushing yards, but so long as Dallas Goedert
you didn't
gets
say lean, Rod, did you? We're gonna get reported to corporate. Jeez, don't use that word.
Yeah, sorry, Boji Joe. Look at you making me already. I don't want to get called in the principal's office. No, I am not leaning over. I'm picking over for Saquon Barkley,
and he will stand by that pick.
Stand by that pick. Plus, just so long as Dallas Goedert gets into the end zone first for the first touchdown. He's like 20-1 right now for a first touchdown, or 15-1. I can't remember. Either that or Austin Eckler. Like I like Austin Eckler too.
I like those. Plays.
Yep. Yeah. And you know what it is, Cody? Anytime I give them out on this show, they tend to hit. So that's why I'm giving it out on this show.
Book it, friends.
Give me Dallas Goedert. I am picking Dallas Goedert as a first touchdown scorer this week. All right, Cody.
Well, Rod, I picked Chase Purdy to finish in the top 5. He did not finish in the top 5, but again, very impressed by Chase Purdy. This was at 12-1, so again, a long shot. Comes home in 12th place. Like, that's not that far off. He started in 10th place, kind of hung around the top 10 area throughout the entire day. He obviously hit last week for us at Martinsville. I think he was, I don't know if he was 12-1, 14-1. We hit the bet, turn around, do the same thing again. Chase Purdy's now officially on my radar as a short flat guy, Rod. Obviously not the result necessarily to cash the bet this time, but again, impressive run for what we kind of don't see from him on a week-to-week basis. That seems to be better on the shorter, flatter track. So something we got to try to remember going forward into next season, assuming that he's back in this truck. I really got to catch up on my truck season, silly season news, Rod, which luckily silly season episodes coming your way. So we'll have you acquainted with where everybody's going to be next season as dominoes continue to fall as well. But Chase Purdy doesn't get it done, but still like the bet at 12-1. There was some good value there and definitely had his opportunities to get up there.
Yeah, it wasn't as if he was completely horrendous. He was there. He was around. He was hanging around, but unfortunately just not with the cool kids at the cool kids table. He was in that, other table.
Chase Purdy not like betting Joey Logano, Poachy Joe. Because Joey Logano's good sometimes. Chase Purdy's okay sometimes.
Joey Logano in even years is where you want to go. So again, next year, 2025, we are not,
OG Joe also quizzing people in the chat. Anybody remember where silly season comes from? Flashback to Rod's history lesson from, what was that, last week, 2 weeks ago or something like that? Yep.
Yeah, I remember where it was. I'm not going to give it away. You got to go back and listen to the episode.
I wouldn't give it away either, Rod, because mostly I don't remember, but I think it was a British term for something. That's all that stuck.
So, it was. So when there was no news to announce during Parliament's break, they would make this, silly season up. No, but at this point, after 500 some odd episodes, I'm sure I'm just white noise to you. Like I gotta believe that, and I don't know how my wife has put up with 20 years of my voice. Like I don't know.
That's why they send us off to our offices to record the show. Go talk to Cody for a little while. I'm sure he wants to hear what you have to say.
I mean, were you listening? It's verbatim what happened. Like,
I think that's exactly what happens in my house. So
talk to Cody. Cody wants to hear what you have to say.
That's Rod. You need to go talk to Rod for a little bit, and you'll be fine. You can shut up the rest of the night.
I love it. All right. The Shifties, man. Shifties are in full force. Tay Gray gets it done for us. He wins Group B plus 240 over Tyler Ingram, Ben Rhodes, and Raja Caruth. Taylor, look, man, this guy has turned into one hell of a truck racer, right? And he finished in 6th in this particular race behind the 4 championship guys and our man Nick Sanchez. So, like, here's the thing. We know that he's going to be consistently good, and we called it out too. I said, if anybody was going to beat Taylor Gray in this group, they would have had to probably be a top 5 truck. And I don't know that any of them had the opportunity to do that. We know that Ben Rhodes didn't get it done. Unfortunately, he was kind of mired back there. Raja Caruth finishes in 13th, which is the and then Ben Rhodes finishes in 9th, which isn't bad. And then Ingram, we just talked about, got taken out. So they weren't top 5 trucks. Taylor Gray had the very real opportunity to be one at the end of the race too, because he was, right? He was until the new tires caught up with him. So Taylor Gray was part of that top 5 mix until the new tires caught up with him. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, this was one that I was very sure was going to happen. And I'm glad that I didn't take his top 5 because I was like, oh, it'd be so tough to take his top 5. But I just think betting his group is better.
Yeah, this was the right play. So props to you for that. Andrew wants to know, Rod, are you leaving the show to host DBC?
I am not a spotter, therefore I don't think I offer anything to that mix right there. I would be the least knowledgeable in that room.
Well, do you have to know anything just to host it? I don't know, but
that's true.
Some things going on over there.
That's true. Well, I mean,
Boji Joe also, why didn't Taylor dump Christian Eckes? Did he ever get to him? You know why, Rod? If you remember last week on the show, I said NASCAR was going to sit in these drivers' meetings and they were going to tell the drivers, look, if you fuck this up, you're not going to race at Daytona. Well, then a clip comes out today from Joey Logano, Rod, and guess what he said? That NASCAR told the drivers in the drivers' meeting, if you fuck this up, you're not going to race at Daytona. So you're very welcome for that insightfulness and still picking Christian Eckes despite the threats of Taylor Gray.
But Taylor Gray did say that you would see clean racing next week. So,
yes,
I mean,
he did. And he said that he would get him back in the Xfinity season next year. So we'll see. But Christian Eckes, Rod, top 3 at -130. Eckes top 3 -130. I don't want to say this was an easy one because I guess he was hanging around there all day, right? 3rd and 5th in the stages. But had to put those tires on and kind of come back up through there. Did Eckes? No, it was Heim that had the speeding penalty, right? Not Eckes. So, Eckes just didn't have it, but did have enough for that top 3. And luckily cashed that for us because if you miss a -130 top 3, that's never fun. But obviously, we'll talk about it in a minute. But I had him to win as well. But this was the insurance bet, right? You take him to win, but if he doesn't win, I think he's gonna be top 3. That ends up being what happens, and the insurance play at least cashes to hopefully save your position on him winning the race.
Yeah, and Christian Eckes, obviously, like you said, the class of the had led in every single race but one up until that point. It's we said it in the last recap show, we said it in the Cup recap show. If these championship guys miss, they're not going to miss by a whole lot, except for the Xfinity race where they're going to miss outside of the top 5. But trucks and Cup, they're always alike, right? They're alike in a lot of different ways, in that we see the championship guys kind of really jockeying for it. So yeah, he didn't miss, and he got you the top 3, which you only pay the juice if you lose. And Cody, you didn't lose, so
that's right.
But we did lose this one. Well, at least I lost this one. But I did say that
I don't even think you count this as a loss because this was the hedge, right? And you didn't hit the hedge, which is good because it means you hit what you were hedging.
Exactly. Yeah. The hedge was on winning truck number under 18.5. But like we said, plus if you just look at the drivers that were beneath Ty Majeski, Corey Heim, 11, and Christian Eckes was the one that was over, but Sanchez at the 2, Grant Enfinger at the 9, Taylor Gray as a 17. So there was 4 of those 6 trucks right there were all below this number. Any one of them could have, if the sky fell down, been right there. Corey Heim could have gotten a little more aggressive, I guess, in his last pursuit of the win there on that last restart. So yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff could have happened, but I'm okay that we didn't hit this because we hit the big one.
Yeah, absolutely. For my outrights, Rod, I only had 2 because I thought it was going to come down to the championship 4 drivers. I think that was fairly accurate. Christian Eckes, of course, we've talked about it. Luckily, we hedged him with the top 3. And then Grant Enfinger, 12-1. And again, we talked about him. He never had the truck throughout the evening, which was disappointing. But, looking back on it, he finishes in 5th place. You got him at 12-1 as a championship 4 guy. I don't think that any of those things really make me too sad for having him at the number you got him at, especially, they started talking very early in the race, Rod, about strategy. What can we do? And so, that's another thing that you factor in. It's a lot like Joey Logano, right? Like, you're going to get that from him as far as if he doesn't have it, maybe they can play the strategy game and get it done. So neither of these cashed, but I still feel like they were good picks.
Well, of course they were, because they were championship 4 picks. And as you've seen, they were very, very close to the top and could have very easily won. But guess what? Ty Majeski takes it home. Plus 450 for the win. Takes home the championship. I don't remember what his championship number was at the beginning of the year. I know we were giving out, like I said, all of the Craftons and the Rhodes of the world, but kind of left Majeski off the table. And guess what? He took that personally. And he came home and he ended up winning the championship, cashing this plus 450 winning ticket. I think, Cody, did we pick all three? I know I picked Logano and Majeski, and we didn't.
We didn't have Allgaier.
We didn't have Hurst.
Well, and yeah, we didn't have Hurst either.
Yeah, Hurst.
Yeah,
we didn't have the Hurst.
We missed out on Xfinity, but yeah, you did have 2 of the 3 because you had Logano and you had Ty Majeski. So, and you gave out Logano preseason, so shout out to you for that as well. Boji Joe, sort of actually a good point, is betting against the Thor family, so Thor Sport Racing, like betting against Penske. If you think about it, Rod, Joey Logano, not the best car all season, gets there, right? And then he gets it done. Well, if you go think about the Thor Sport, right, it was Eckes and Heim all season. Majeski kind of an afterthought. No wins for Ty Majeski in the entire playoffs. And, if Taylor Gray doesn't get moved to Martinsville, he's not even in the championship 4, but he gets it done in the championship race. Thor Sport has also won 3 of the last 4 Truck Series championships now because Rhodes has won 2 of the last 3 with Zane Smith sprinkled in there. And then, of course, now with Majeski winning. So there is actually sort of a lot of comparisons because Rhodes was never the favorite in those years either. He just, got there and got it done at the end. So, yeah, it's an interesting comparison. Both Ford teams.
Both Fords, yeah.
Both been around a long time, right? Penske's been around a long time. Thor Sport's been around a long time as well. So, yeah, interesting comparison there. I think that well-deserved.
Indeed. Boji Joe also thanking me for the over 21.5 bet in the Cup Series. Yeah, I mean, that became one of my favorite bets was the car numbers, as well as the fastest pit in F1.
F1, yeah. Well, and the car number ones, they're just so fun because it gives you options, right? If you just bet on Joey Logano and he wrecks out early, then it's over. But if you've got over 21.5 and William Byron wins, well, you're still in the game, right? Or Alex Bowman or anybody else that's over that number. So that's sometimes that makes the number bets even more fun because it does encompass other things for you, whereas it's not just one guy you're hanging on and they get a penalty or they have a pit problem or they get caught up on a wreck and your bet's gone. The number bet, it's sort of always going to still be alive to some degree at the end of the day.
Yes, it is. Kaz Gralla, Boji Joe says as well. Hey, how do we do on our final fantasy race of the season?
So I had that pulled up. We did the full season standings. If you put everything together, we did beat the guys over at the NASCAR betting preview show. They did make the score much more respectable at the end of the day. They just killed us in the playoffs, though. I mean, it was pretty rough, and they actually beat us again at Phoenix by almost 40 points. So, shout out to them for that. But yeah, they beat us by 337 points in the playoff segment. So
what you're saying is we need a new playoff structure, right?
Yeah.
Because that can't happen.
Yeah.
The regular season champion can't lose in the playoffs. That's just
right.
not the way this
You know
works.
what, Rod? Now that you brought that up, next week I think one of our episodes is going to be not arguing, but we're taking listener submissions. So make sure you join us. We haven't finalized. We will be next week. Just a little heads up, and probably mostly going forward. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is going to be the show plan going forward through the off season here. And that's when you can kind of expect our shows. So one of the shows next week is going to be just playoff format, right? Different ideas, what would work, what might not work, what can we come up with? Some people like Denny Hamlin have put some stuff out there. What have they thought, or what do we think about it? So submit your stuff or save it for the live chat and jump in and talk about it with us, because that's going to be a lot of fun. I think that a lot of people are interested to hear different takes and thoughts on what we think works. So I like that. And as well as championship odds next week, Rod, and another surprise show. You'll have to tune in and find out what it is.
Yeah, it'll be us lamenting about the fact that we do need a new playoff system for this fantasy game because we feel like we got robbed out of a chance to compete for the championship. So,
Right.
no, shout out to the guys at the NASCAR betting preview show and NASCAR. Yeah, that was the NASCAR betting preview show. Those love me some Derek and some Phil. Those guys are fantastic. So when they fire theirs back up again, make sure you go give them a listen next season because again, this whole community is just one gigantic love fest, and they're part of it as well.
Yes, sir.
So, all right, Cody. Well, then let's send everybody away for the weekend and to enjoy their weekend. The first weekend without NASCAR in almost 9 months, but it's a short off season. Thank God.
It is a short off season. We have football to carry us through, Rod, so that's good. F1, by the way, they'll be in Vegas next week, so we will be back with some picks for that next week as well. So have some racing to bet on, and that Vegas race last year was a damn good one. So excited to talk about that. In the meantime, Rod, you can follow me over on the X at Husker_Zeeb. Find all my stuff there. Follow the show as well at NASCAR Gambling. Also, if you haven't liked our Facebook page, we're trying to sort of grow that, so go over there, give that a like. We're doing the daily car number countdown over there on the Facebook and the X. So feel free to contribute. Post your favorite schemes. 94 days, if you wanted to know. Today, Bill Elliott, by the way, until the Daytona 500. So we'll continue counting that down. Yesterday, of course, Rod, Lightning McQueen and his 7 Piston Cups made the cover of the stats, I guess, for the 95, because why wouldn't he? So there you go.
I would have to say that he's my favorite 7-time champion, but there's another one that has my heart. So unfortunately, sorry, Lightning. Jimmy's got my heart. Yes, join us next week. Old Fashioned saying we need another crossover episode. Yeah, we sure as hell do. Jessica saying great show. Have a great night. And Boji Joe has a My Face page. All right, Taco. All right, guys. What was?
I was going to say we're going to put Boji Joe in charge of our My Face page as well.
Actually, I think we are too. We'll talk offline. Boji Joe.
Yeah.
All right.
You can run our My Face page.
I love it. I love you all. Yeah. So come back next week. We'll talk a lot about everything and just have some fun with you over the off season. So enjoy your weekend. Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bio to everything I've got going on, whether it's here. I've got some first touchdown picks out now for SBR, and I will over the course of the weekend as well. So, all right. Love you all very much. We'll see you next week. Until next time, let's go racing and let it ride.